Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bill and Eamon's Bogus Hangout. And have our guests introduce themselves today. Let's start with Zara. Zara, would you let us know more about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Zara Altier, and I write for the web. And I am completely bogus. I love this show.
Thomas?
My name is Thomas Sickle, founder of Blueprint Marketing, and I am completely bogus and love the show as well.
Terry?
Terry Van Horn, Toronto, Ontario, retired.
It says Terry Van Horn today instead of Webmaster T.
That's
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't change it. It just changed itself, and I'm too lazy to put it back. And not ashamed to admit it.
Doc?
I'm Doc Sheldon of Deep SEO Conference and Web Narwhal.
And I'm Bill Slosky of SEO by the Sea, and I'm the Director of SEO Research for Go Fish Digital. Welcome to the show. We've got some news about the world of SEO, compiled by Webmaster T, Terry. I hear a time warp. Somebody's got YouTube on in the background.
Not me.
Not
It
me.
was me, but I turned it off.
Okay.
Guilty as charged.
So somebody did a survey, and they said less than 50% of SEOs saw any change from the November 2021 update. So how many people know that there is an update going on right now?
I'm aware.
Aware, yeah.
I have not
Have-
seen
have-
any negative changes, which
Nope.
doesn't mean there aren't changes. I've seen only good things come from it.
Have there been any negative changes?
I'm sure for some people. I don't know. The algorithm changes sometimes. Yeah. Oh, I guess it depends on your outlook, right? If you're somebody that whose site is affected in a negative way, then that would be considered a negative change. But I don't think Google in general tries to make a negative change.
I think I saw an ad yesterday that said at least 3 sites, including Wikipedia, had seen negative results.
Oh, really? Yeah, that would make sense. Wikipedia seems to be getting less and less important to Google for some reason.
Why would that affect its ranking?
Why?
Yeah.
I think that if it's given less importance by the algorithm, then it would, show other sites.
Algorithm doesn't really decide importance.
Well, John Mueller is doing it on purpose. I know, he's just making it. No, but no,
You're not sorry.
No, I think that if Google's finding higher quality results, then obviously they're going to include them, right? They're going to put them above even Wikipedia, which is very thorough in most of what it covers.
Okay.
I would think that you'd have to be pretty darn good to be more thorough, more focused than Wikipedia on most of their pages.
I don't
Their
think there's a quality issue at Wikipedia.
Yeah. I think that they're pretty well focused, topically focused. I think they've got
There's
about as
sometimes
good as
when
you're going to get.
there's sometimes when a fail at Wikipedia is a really big fail.
True.
True. If they get hit, they get hit hard because it's something in the structure.
When they had an article on Jerron Lanier, who's one of the inventors behind visual search and visual goggles, augmented reality. They had him listed primarily as an experimental recording artist. He did a 5-minute long video on YouTube 10 years ago, and it's the only recording he's done. So he tried to update the Wikipedia article, and they got offended because he was editing his own article.
Yeah.
And they said, no, there's bias. He said, okay, there's bias and then there's crap. What you produced was crap.
I think I remember Wikipedia possibly being hit by one of the early quality algorithms or quality updates. I think it was also when they got when they hit a lot of large publications as well, like news sites. I think I remember that. But
so like shots across the bow as a warning.
Yeah. But what from what I've read, I think it's just further update or adjustments to the quality algorithms, especially this your money, your life, and that kind of scenario.
I suspect it is.
Yeah. See, the other thing is what people don't really seem to get is that each one of these is just more, adjustment to what it learned originally, because it's using machine learning to do that stuff. So every time they update it, it's going to change that somewhat. And the other thing that I've noticed with it is if you get hit and maybe not that hard at first, it seems the longer you leave it and don't attempt to fix it, that's when you start seeing the big moves.
Now, this particular update, I have not heard of any up or down changes for anybody that were beyond normal flux.
Read the comments on the article. You'll get a good idea what kind of people got hit.
Yeah, well,
I think Lily Ray did another article on who went up and who went down, and it's out now.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about this stuff is the people who seem to get hit by these things are all checking their results like by the hour. They can tell you within the hour what they got in traffic. I mean, come on. Really, you're doing something awful wrong if you have to be watching it that closely. I'm sorry.
Or you just born entrepreneur. You're used to checking that stuff because you do it all the time anyway.
That could be. It's just,
You know exactly where you stand in search results.
Yeah. Well, you can tell some of them are pretty green just by their comments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it depends on, obviously, of course, what forum you're in, but you get to see some amazing comments. Like Google's out for me is one that I like. People think that they have a personal vendetta against them.
Yeah, it reminds me back in the days I was administrator of creative site forums, and people would join the forum and ask the question, Google just did an update. Did it affect my website? I've lost traffic.
I wouldn't even know how to answer
check
that.
the rest of the things, like your server may have been down or something like that.
Yeah.
No. So check those things.
My DNS stopped working. I wonder if that's it.
So, Thomas, did you see there was a CDN story in today's news?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Gosh.
So there are potentially different crawl rates depending on if somebody uses a CDN in the website?
I've heard that about probably 6 months ago, and it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense for it to have, because the content delivery network, if it's a full reverse proxy, should have a lot more bandwidth to take more hits. Basically, more. It should be a lot more powerful, and Google should be able to understand, Cloudflare, CloudFront, Fast, whatever it is. Basically, from that, they're all going to have a similar.
So
capability.
crawl rate is
How fast Google
allocated to a site based on a few different things.
And it mostly to do with the server.
right.
So, of course, when you have two different servers, they are not going to be treated the same. Like,
Well, if you
who asks these questions is what I want to know.
Well, like if you have a CDN that's a subdomain, like cdn.example.com, that's a different server, right? Like it's your JavaScript and but most people now are going over to a full reverse proxy, so the origin server is hidden behind the CDN. So it would make sense that, like Terry said, for a subdomain one, for it to actually treat it like two different servers, and it would make a lot of sense for them to kind of get the idea from a reverse proxy that they could probably throw a lot more traffic at it, and also that most reverse proxies now have WAFs in them that would do rate limiting, but it wouldn't be rate limiting Google actually. So
Personally,
Yeah,
I would
so-
suspect that Google is not going to change its crawl rate based upon the size or the type of any configuration. They're just going to go off the server's ability to service it.
right.
And they don't
They're
care
gonna
if
look at the
it's an
history.
Arabian or an Israeli server. They don't care if it's a CDN or in my back room.
Right?
If
They're
the
just
server
looking at the speed.
the server is given feedback that it's getting overloaded, they're going to back off.
Yep.
If they're only hitting at 20% load, they're going to crank it up a little bit. And I don't care. I don't think that they're going to pay. I don't think they dare pay attention to whether it's a CDN or not, because that would just poison their entire model.
Yeah,
So you're saying the web crawler remains polite?
Well,
when I
that
was
may be a
thinking
stretch, Bill.
Yeah.
Do no
There is
evil. There we go.
There is a politeness protocol with crawlers.
There was another article also about Googlebot slowing down between November 11th and 17th. Well,
As
I
if
wondered,
as
okay,
if it took a
Google
vacation.
would know by the number of transactional queries how busy the internet is. If it sees a huge amount of those transactional queries, they may say maybe we shouldn't slow things down for a while.
Yeah, Black Friday is going to be a little bit busier than the 12th of
For
June.
sure.
You know,
Like some
Somebody
sites
running
can
somebody
even-
running a data center may have gone on vacation.
I remember it used to be an annual event that Walmart would go down on Black Friday.
yeah.
Yeah.
First 2 or 3 years that they came online, every year they went down on Black Friday.
That I remember that. That was so common, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of companies are getting souped up right now. I know Shopify is souping up their back end for Black Friday. A lot of container-based servers are probably going to be used. A lot of people are hopefully this is a prosperous Black Friday, and a lot more people that wouldn't use the web prior to COVID are going to be using it for a little bit more comfortable with e-commerce shopping.
You
Obviously-
say container-based servers, like in
Yeah.
shipping containers?
Well, like it's a strange way of describing it, but a container is essentially it's the server operating system inside of a thing that can basically scale horizontally and vertically. So imagine you have,
Okay. So Google would talk about container servers. They would talk about actual physical containers, like shipping
No.
containers.
yeah, they're not a
Processing
physical
capabilities.
They're,
sorry,
they're
Yeah, it
bigger
adds-
containers so they can move them around.
Well, no,
Right.
the contain
Because they had some water-based containers where they would put them on a ship.
these
and they
are
could float them from country to country.
This is a
These are-
virtual container, though, isn't it,
Yeah.
Thomas? This is basically
Exactly.
processing capabilities.
It's
Right.
imagine if you need like 40 more cores, it can do that, and it can add more RAM on the fly.
Well,
like
that's why I thought the Google approach was interesting, because
Yeah,
they're
Google does
actual
use
real
containers.
physical containers.
but like not like a shipping container, physical container. It's still a server, but it's just basically a bunch of servers that can connect to each other and give the allotted amount of processing power or memory or whatever is
Server
needed.
hive mind, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's a little bit different than a cluster, but imagine like your VPS or
it's not the Borg.
it's like the first Tron movie. No, it is a strange word to describe it. I agree, and it should like elastic hosting is a good way I think of describing it. I watch New Relic on some of these things, and you see different cores added to sites as needed. So PHP workers can be. It's kind of it's really ingenious idea in my opinion.
That's how Azure is structured. I can go there in 5 minutes and add another core, or RAM, anything I want.
But this will do it. This will do it automatically up to your container's limit. Like so, if you have, depending on who you're hosting with, if you have a limit of, I don't know, X amount of bandwidth for cores, then they'll stop you and they'll probably just charge you more money. But
and you can set the container limits.
So like you don't have to like worry about like the old days. We had to grab VPSs or a dedicated server and scale it up. That would take a long time.
SiteGround does that now too.
Yep. Yeah. SiteGround is mostly containers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have dedicated. I think that the container, like Kinsta, is a great example of hosting that's on containers that's taken off really big, and very very big. Where like WP Engine shared hosting, and there's benefits and well, there's a lot of benefits to containers considering you get an isolated environment. You don't have a noisy neighbor effect. But I think that like Shopify is based on containers mostly. I think a lot of sites will stay up this year because of that. And we won't notice on the other side, but I think that
I don't notice as many mirrored servers on the web anymore.
No, very few, right? Like,
pretty inefficient.
I used to have a VPS on the East Coast and a VPS on the West Coast and a proxy, and it makes no sense to do that anymore. The amount of power you can get out of just having it in one place and having it all behind a reverse proxy is the way to do it, I think, now. Also, you can now, even Cloudflare allows you to, Cloudflare, CloudFront, all the big ones allow you to actually take your server and place, it caches your entire site, the entire server onto a super pop, and then it allows that super pop to just communicate with the content delivery network. That's a breakthrough, in my opinion. A shield is a must-have if you're getting a ton of traffic on Black Friday.
So I shouldn't see as many www1, www2, www3 subdomains.
Right? Yeah. Unless you're on Deloitte, which still using basically, I don't think they'll have to worry about that as much. I mean, server architecture has come so far, and like Terry was saying with Azure, I'm pretty sure it's just like AWS. You can say, I'm okay paying up to this amount or allowing you to scale up to this amount on my behest. You can add as much hardware as you want if I get the traffic that's required. And those guys are making
I can have servers located in multiple countries too under one account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So different crawl rates for different servers with different CDNs makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, otherwise crawl rate doesn't make any sense.
I think they even look into your DNS now, I believe, into like what, I guess that would show in your entire latency metric. But I'm glad Google's getting more and more focused on this. It shows that people that actually invest in the technology to have a good infrastructure, give a good user experience, are getting rewarded by Google as well.
So to switch topics really quickly, The Google Structured Data Markup helper is broken.
No.
And
Damn.
how long has it been broken?
Yeah,
Well,
I know that didn't
about-
seem like news to me.
When did it come out? That would be the same answer.
Doesn't
I haven't
sound
used
like
that
they're
thing.
try and fix it anytime soon either.
No, they'll
It
just
felt
discontinue it.
broken the first time I tried to use it.
Yeah.
And
It's-
I sort of figured that was due to the way I had my robots.txt set up and me blocking certain files.
Is anybody else seeing a
JavaScript and
pattern
CSS.
that when something is launched and it never works right, therefore nobody ever uses it, and then about 18 months later Google says, we're discontinuing this because nobody's using it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, this is a pain in the ass to keep it up, so we're not going to keep it up, and pretty soon we'll be justified in shutting it down.
How's Microsoft doing the Wave these days?
Oh.
Didn't they start using Wave like 2 months ago or so? Saying it may have failed at Google, but we're actually using it now?
I was wondering what Wave you're talking. I was thinking about Google Wave. Oh God, that's a bad idea. Like, why would they think it would work for them?
Because Google has that mantra of fail fast, fail first, fail
Well,
fast.
by God, they're getting good at that part.
They are. Yeah, maybe they can make it work for them.
Fail fast, fail often. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Microsoft is good at letting Microsoft Asia come up with ideas and then not implementing them at Bing until a year or two later.
Well, that Google does seem to be a whole lot better at overcoming the natural inertia of a large corporation, because they can move fast. And I don't know if that's because the guy at the top just, he wants to hear what's going on and he makes a decision on the spot. Whereas at Bing, maybe they're having to go through 17 levels of hierarchy before they could ever get a consensus. But
I'm not quite sure.
Bing always seems to have their feet in the mud, and Google seems to move in a hurry.
I'm
But
not sure
Microsoft-
the two guys at the top of Google are still there. Brendan Page. I think
Yeah, I
on
bet you
vacation.
they hardly go into the office.
They don't
I
have
know
to.
if I had their money, I wouldn't show up ever.
I
But
mean,
there's
they
a big
hired people like
difference
Vince Cerf.
between what Google does and what Microsoft does. Two different companies, like
Google just yeah.
like search to Bing, like Bing to Microsoft.
Yeah.
Not even a product that would, matter if it shut down tomorrow.
It'd be like
It-
losing the Chrome
It
OS
wouldn't
to
trade
Google.
them. Google would go under, and
Yeah.
Bing or Microsoft would survive. Yeah.
Right. The operating system.
No,
that-
Microsoft would survive, but Bing, it's not like everybody lines up to buy ads there. So
No.
how's it making money? All it does is lose money, I'm sure.
Bing, I think it probably makes some money.
I doubt it.
I sort of doubt it too.
If they
Yeah,
do,
if you
it's
figure
damn
their
little.
overhead is almost as, as far as the people you need and what you have to pay them. That's probably pretty comparable to both companies.
If
know.
they're in the black, it's not by damn much. I think.
Yeah. Well, figure their percentage, right? They claim it's like 20% for the others, but any time I've looked at traffic, if you look at search engines, Google's like over 90%.
Yeah, it's single digit is what I see too on Bing.
Yeah.
8-9%, and that's
Is
in
that-
a heavy niche.
It's abbreviation, isn't it?
Well,
Isn't
I
it
bet
closer
you there's
to
people who
5,
see
4
more
or 5?
traffic from social than they see from Bing.
I mean, Bing's biggest competitor is DuckDuckGo, right?
Or Yahoo, probably it's the same thing. Same base
They're in
background.
partners with Yahoo, so
Yeah.
not exactly competitive.
I think that, yeah, I think I know that when Verizon purchased Yahoo, they did it so that they could have free ads. Because my fiance worked there at the time, and that's what, at least that was the company word. And they just thought it was a good. They said it was a good brand. They had the woman from Google. I forgot her name.
They own
Marissa
AOL
Mayer.
too, don't they?
Yeah, they should have mixed it with AOL and made it a superpower like Google. Yeah, listen, yeah, but like, so like they had the funds. I'm
They
assuming.
they had lost most of their search engine talent. They lost the
Oh.
people who knew stuff.
Oh yeah, anyone who knows anything will go over to Google if they're any,
They either left Yahoo and went to Google, or they went to Microsoft. And the ones who went to Microsoft left Microsoft and went to Google.
And nobody really gets that the biggest part of Yahoo is Yahoo Sports, Yahoo Finance. That's what
Yeah.
generates all the
Yahoo
traffic. over
Yahoo
there.
Personals, Yahoo
Yahoo
Fantasy
Finance
Sports.
is huge.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Most of the traffic, that's where it comes from. It does not come from search.
I mean, I should stop using Yahoo. Is what you guys are saying? It doesn't have the best.
I don't care.
No, I'm just. I don't think I've Yahooed anything in 5 years.
Yeah, you need to move to what's the Russian Yandex.
Oh, Yadex. That
Yeah,
one.
Yandex.
Yeah.
That's where you need to be spending your time, Thomas.
I'm on the Chinese one right now, which is getting me in trouble with the Communist Party over there, and that's a problem apparently. No, I probably shouldn't say anything. I'll go to China one day and never come back. But they have some.
You'll be seeing all the publicity stills, right?
Yeah, if they don't just wipe me from the memory of the internet and the earth. That's one thing they're good at. Badu, yeah. Like, so I don't use Badu, Yadex. Yadex I've used when I've wanted to see how other things rank on it, just out of curiosity, but never optimized for it. Really, it's never been a priority, but it does have a decent.
Unless you've got European
Russian, yeah,
customer bases. Well, they're even getting a lot stronger in Western Europe. I mean, into Germany, Austria, even in Spain and Portugal. They haven't really broken into any of the market in the UK, and I don't know if they ever will. But they are getting better. They're doing some things I like. Like, for instance, their webmaster tools, I think, are the best out there, bar none. Yeah, they really have a powerful suite.
That's Yandex.
Yeah, Yandex. Their analytics is, it's I guess you could say it's competitive, but it's not exactly stellar. But the control that they're giving you in their webmaster tools is really good. I like it better than Google's. I like it better than Bing's. It's powerful.
Yeah. Webmaster Tools is amazing. If it had power over sites, or if it could actually help your site. If Google, yeah, I agree with that. If they could implant that thing into Google, that would be awesome. But I'm surprised Google doesn't borrow more from these companies that are not providing these. Like, I think Germany's still at 94%, 97% Google search. I mean, they are, Yadex is, but Russia, Ukraine, they're the ones who tend to, I think, use it the most.
Yeah. Well, they're into the Turkmenistan, Oman. They're into the Middle East somewhat. Like I say, they're in Spain and Portugal. I don't know if they're doing anything in France. They're not doing anything notable at all in the UK. I don't think they're doing much up in the Scandinavian countries either. But that's probably because a lot of those folks up there still got a bad taste in their mouth about Russia in general. Can't imagine why, But
Finland had a problem with them, didn't they? No, I'm just kidding.
But Yandex has got some stuff going for it, but I don't think that they have the financial ability to ever grow as large and as fast as Google. I mean, Google's got,
Well, they don't
besides
have
having
the audience for one thing.
well, my understanding is that about 70% of the old USSR nations, okay, about 70% of those people are online. A lot of them only on a phone, but that's not a bad number. I mean, it's not like they're all.
Right, but that's not anything like the whole world.
Oh no, no,
That's
no.
my point.
They're never gonna be able to compete with Google, not unless Google just goes
Not
tits up.
worldwide, but in that area. And
Yeah.
partially to do with language, right?
Well, actually, Yandex, you can work in English on Yandex very nicely. All of their tech reps that I've spoken to spoke more than passable English. You know.
Right, but it started out as a Russian
Oh yeah, absolutely.
engine, right? Like,
They made a very concerted effort to become multilingual, and you can go in there. I don't remember how many, but let's say a dozen different languages now. They have tech reps and they have pages in that language, probably 10 or 12 different languages. Whereas 10 years ago, it was Russian. Period.
Yeah.
I think I remember going there and having to get the page translated.
Yeah, and in those days, Google Translate was cold chills.
Not very good.
What is App Metrica?
What?
App Metrica on Yandex?
It's the next best thing.
Install attribution. Analytics. Okay.
Cloudflare has some pretty decent analytics now for free. I think putting analytics into a worker on the edge on a reverse proxy makes a lot of sense if you can do that. Oh, sorry, I won't go too. But it keeps your site speed up. You don't have to actually wait for the crawl, for the third-party pull.
Get some real time. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Bill, you must be an authority site, eh? You've got over 30 articles. So you gotta be
32, right?
Well, based on that, then the Moz blog must be.
Oh my gosh.
Some of these questions, like I said, who's asking them? Because they should be just showing the door instead of get your spatula ready.
How do they even come up with that stuff? Is what I want to know.
I don't know.
I suspect there's some
It's so
recreational
easy to
drugs
ask
involved.
Oh, possibly.
It's
Microdosing
become
acid.
so easy to just go on Twitter and ask John, and he'll, being the guy he is, he answers them all. No matter
He's a
what.
very nice guy.
They hire the people who don't get into the Quora program.
The people asking the
The
questions
ones-
are on the
ones who are getting-
QAnon
The
program.
ones who are getting paid by the question at Quora.
Are people getting paid to answer questions on Quora now?
No, they're getting paid to ask questions.
Oh,
Do they
okay.
get paid to ask questions? Whoa,
And
they're
some
paying a
of
lot of
those
seventh
questions
graders.
are unbelievable.
Oh man, those questions.
Quora
are-
has some exceptionally crazy questions. It's like, my dog bit me. Should I be mad at it? Huh? Like,
No,
you
bite
want
it
us to
back, you
answer
knothead.
yeah. Oh gosh, there's so
Some of
Yeah.
them are definitely eye rollers, huh?
oh my goodness, yeah. It makes me feel better to know people are actually being paid to ask something that dumb, because some of those things are like, whoa. Yeah, there was a guy saying that asking if an incel is a superhero, and that was one of my favorite questions.
So people are actually paid to ask those questions?
They don't realize that if you run something like Google, you get all those questions for free.
I see.
I mean, they have query
I
logs.
was
that go
just,
to
I
it.
was just, this thought flashed through my head. It was like when Playboy had all those question and answer thing.
Those are good
Some
questions.
question and answer column. I can't remember the name of it, but those were all made up.
No.
Yeah.
Come on, don't ruin
Oh
that.
yeah.
You're bursting my bubble, girl.
No, oh my gosh. So now I'm even more astounded now that I know that some people are paid to ask those questions.
I mean, it must be like a question click farm. I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Why? Why does it make sense? The
They
questions are
take all the
idiotic.
questions that get submitted to them and ask them of members, so that people have
Creates
things to
content.
write about.
I suggest getting a life.
No, that will
Yeah.
step up.
Heretic.
I'll take Get a Life for 2,000.
Oh.
You can give that as an answer to a question on there, but yeah, no, it is a flywheel effect. I mean, if people, the dumber the question, actually, the more angry the person probably is and quicker to answer. Probably like, oh, I'm so pissed. You don't. But yeah, I mean,
I've answered a few questions of Quora like that.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
question made me so mad because it's so stupid.
Yeah, you answer, so it gets someone like you giving the best answer possible. They fulfilled like their
Oh my gosh. And you ask a stupid question and you get Bill as an answer. That's incredible.
So if you want to know more, you just play dumb and then just or you just pretend that then you're going to get more and more exact information.
Or if you want to be put firmly in your place, tag Ammon.
Yeah, exactly.
He will leave you bleeding in the gutter.
So when people do a migration, do you leave the old sitemap in place?
I do, yes.
Why?
Because of the redirects. Not forever.
Why do you need redirects?
Okay, well, if you're changing, if you're migrating the site,
You've already got redirects on the site. Why do you need a sitemap with the redirects?
Well, no,
it doesn't have. Your sitemap should have 200 OK status codes, not 301s or 302s.
When you say migrate, do you mean migrate to another server, or do you mean like migrate to a different domain?
Either way, just says site migration. So first of all, I want to know why someone would change the URL. Like, to me, that's the last thing I want to do. I got to have a really good reason to start changing URLs.
I agree with
that.
So
I had a client who had a name. The client was created by the three largest Android it was created by Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile, who were the three biggest Android facilitators.
Right.
They named the company ISIS.
Oh,
that's a good reason to change your name.
before the paramilitary group showed up.
Okay. Now that makes sense.
So the paramilitary group showed up. They said, "We've got to change our name."
Yeah.
Because we just can't politely ask them to change theirs.
Because they're not.
You're infringing on copyright.
To me, that's like the last resort. I gotta have a really good reason.
So I'm doing an audit for them. I come up with the invisible same as a way to indicate on their old website where they refer to themselves as ISIS that they're not the paramilitary group. Because it links to the newer Wikipedia article that shows that they changed their name.
Okay.
2 weeks before I finished the audit, after I've added that, they get purchased by Google.
Wow.
They didn't need the audit anymore. I finished the audit, I sent it to them, but they didn't need to rank well on Google anymore.
No.
They had the best
Well,
possible.
And I had a client last year that they had all their URLs. Well, they had about 2,500 pages. All their
Yeah.
URLs had the year, month, day
Yeah.
in the URL. And a lot of that data, it wasn't all evergreen, but it wasn't all necessarily superfluous data. So I said, these dates really shouldn't be in there. For one thing, you're adding an extra 10 characters. So when we did the redesign and migrated everything, we went ahead and redirected and did a regex to take all those dates out.
Yeah.
But
Also,
like Terry says, it's not often that I would want to change URLs. That particular instance,
Even
it
there,
just makes
Doc,
sense.
I would have left the old URLs the same and changed the policy going forward.
Yeah, then you have a mix, Yeah,
Didn't
you
Tim
could do that
Berners-Lee
too.
write
I
an
suppose.
article that said Google URLs don't change?
yeah, I remember that cool URL. But let's say you move CMSs to Shopify. It's the second largest CMS on the planet now, behind WordPress. They force you to have / pages if it's a page, / collections if it's a collection, /
Yeah, well,
blog.
that's why I don't go to companies like that.
But a lot of people do, and if
Well, that's their problem, not mine.
like, I
I have no sympathy for that. Sorry.
Well, I migrated a site on Shopify, and the rankings went up. So I can say that the redirects worked great in that situation, but that's a situation where you have to change the URL structure. I also added
Here's the thing: by leaving the old sitemap there, that does nothing.
You leave it there for
What would
180
be
days
faster
so
is
that
to go to Google and submit the new sitemap, which they would go through all the URLs immediately.
right. So what you do is you upload it to the new Search Console for the new domain, right? And you have the new sitemap. You have the URL changes in the sitemap so that it will follow that, and then you go to Search Console and tell it that you're migrating over as well. So it's going to stop indexing the old site as much and index your new site quite a bit, and that's when the older sitemap actually helps it find any pathways to the new URLs. It gives it sort of like a map. And then you can remove it after 6 months. I've never had any negative.
I think it automatically removes it 6 months, doesn't it, Thomas?
I've done
I don't know.
migrations like that. Never had a problem. Within 2 days, 3 days, max, never all re-indexed.
Yeah, no, you can definitely do it without doing that, but I've always done it just to, and it's worked fantastically in the past. So
okay, well, John basically said it doesn't. So
he did.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, if we no longer need to do it, then that's cool.
No, you never had to do it.
Okay.
That's not new.
Yeah. It used to be in the documentation, though, that you should have.
It used to be a thing that puzzled me that people would say to do it because I never saw a reason to.
Right. It's not really. Okay. I just never did it because it never made sense to me. It made more sense to put the real sitemap in there.
Sitemaps aren't supposed to be ways to discover redirects.
No.
Right.
Right. So here they're saying the theory was to leave the old sitemap live so that Google would look and crawl the redirects. So yeah, that it was redirected to the new ones faster. Johnson
and the guys who developed the flat Earth theory called it a theory too.
I mean, flat Earth isn't a theory; it's a way of life.
Just don't fall over the edge.
Yeah, I'm worried if it's round, I'm gonna fall into the sky. That's my.
Doc, were you the one that had the flat Earth eclipse the other day?
Flat Earth eclipse?
It was like
That's
this
a
bar.
tricky one.
Gosh, I actually stumbled into someone playing a video game and listened to someone try to explain that the CIA is in the moon watching us because all the craters are the same depth. And I'm thinking, no, they're definitely not. If you look at the moon.
They're only watching for people that are trying to reveal the aliens.
Exactly. I thought drones and satellites would be a little bit cheaper and a lot better at that. But hey, if they want to put people up there.
I noticed something pretty different the other day with how they're using the Google business profiles, eh? I put in, I was looking, I have a friend who's a paralegal, and I was looking at her site, right? Give her some advice. And so I put Hamilton, landlord paralegal, right? And her profile came up, business profile. And it wasn't the name of her company.
But it was her.
Actual search query, and there was no local pack, and most of the results were related to her site. That's something new. I've never seen that before.
Wow.
And then I did it on SEO Pros, got the same, but it had a few more other websites there, because there's a few others that are called SEO Pros. Seems like I was just the first to think of it. Lots of other people.
That's odd that hers showed up with no local pack, huh?
Yeah. Well, I noticed they all come up like that now, Doc. It seems like there's less local packs. I haven't really, looked at it closely, but I was surprised how prominent the profiles were on a normal query, right? Not just the business name, but like a query.
Interesting. I haven't really looked at it since they changed the name of it. I haven't really had occasion to go in and
Is
look
that
at
a
it.
change that they've changed since they changed it to profile instead of?
I think it's different since they put in Google business profile. Yes.
So it wasn't just a fancy renaming. We
Apparently
didn't
it
just
was
go
more,
automatically from Google My Business to Google Business Profiles. They
Yeah, it
actually
looked
did
like
something too.
they changed a few things. Yes.
Okay.
I was surprised more people haven't noticed that those local packs go away now, and the business profile is like, it's almost like a page for the result for the business. I could understand it if I was just looking for the business name, right? But this had a city as well. And
I'm gonna have to investigate. I thought it was just a name change.
Yeah, I also did, this is really interesting. I did another search for Notary Public, and the same thing, another site came up. Notary Public was just in the name, it wasn't the whole name, and it was a friggin' Facebook group. It had a 5 rating. Guess where the rating came from? Facebook. They had a 2.9 on Google.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like there's some really funny stuff going on with that.
Sounds like there's some bugs still in there too. They maybe,
or that's the way they want to make it. I don't know, but
why would they want to? That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's one way to make the profile more appealing, and for people to keep them. Like when I saw it, I told her she needs to do more work on her business profile.
Guys, I have to go to my class. See you next week.
Bye, Sarah. Take
See
care.
you.
Bye.
Take care, Sarah.
Easy. Take her any way you can.
That's sweet. It seems like the knowledge graph has been, what am I saying? Search Console has gotten quite a nice update.
I haven't looked at that either. It just happened a couple days ago.
I just
right?
looked at it briefly this morning. It didn't, nothing jumped out at me, really.
They,
I
they
spent all
supposedly
3 minutes.
made really small changes. And
Yeah,
they may make more.
What do you think of the page speed insight update? You guys seen that?
Like I said, I didn't bother to look at them.
It doesn't work for a lot of sites that are running Cloudflare because of some proxy errors. So all Shopify sites don't show up. But I guess they're on it.
Sounds like a plus to me.
It's actually a lot better than it used to be. It gives you a lot more data.
Really?
So yep. So if you're trying to figure out like why your site's slow, it's definitely worth looking at page speed insights, or how fast your site is, or whatever. I think that probably a lot of people were looking for that information after the algorithm changed and Google started showing it in Search Console as well, or user. It's pretty good. And they also changed it to slow 4G instead of fast 3G, which is gives sites a little bit more breathing room. So to pass that, it means like basically you get I think about 3 or 4 gigs or megs, faster load time, which is pretty big.
And someone was saying something about the knowledge panels changed too.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like smaller things in the knowledge panel where I've been seeing basically.
So they've changed my entity type.
Yeah, and
my entity type used to be American Consultant. It's now Search Engine Technology.
That's more realistic. Makes more sense.
So how do you think they're figuring that out, Bill?
I don't know. The Microsoft Concept Graph has me as a patent expert.
That's accurate.
It's pretty. It's much more accurate than what Google does. So I'm not sure. They may be looking at anchor text pointing to my pages.
Yeah. And stuff around the anchor text.
I mean, if everybody links to you as dumbass,
You're going to be
the
known.
anchor text says that. That
Now I
maybe-
understand why I'm number 2 in that. I'm going to check my links more often.
I used to have the dumbass name, but someone else took it.
I mean, the votes win.
I really hope that Google starts updating more and more of its UX. I think that it's pretty dated at this time, and a lot of things on Google, just speak. If you're talking about like something that needed an update, that really would be a nice update. If they remake the JSON LD or the structured data tool, I hope that they actually do make the best structured data tool possible and give it to us. But I don't.
Well, the structured data
my breath.
markup tool,
Yeah,
that would be really nice.
it would be awesome, right?
Oh, you need one of those? You just go to Tony McCree's site.
Yeah, there's
websiteadvantage.com.au. It
there's
works great.
15 of those sites out there that generate schema, all kinds of them.
Yeah. Tony's worked like a champ. I have yet to ever get a bug on one of the outputs
So
of
the
his
markup
tool.
tool doesn't use schema.
I think it has a choice between microdata and schema. Or JSON, sorry, what am I saying?
It lets you label stuff on your pages, and it treats your
Right.
pages as if they're templated.
That's its biggest advantage, yeah. You should be able to reproduce what you're doing on every single blog post or whatever similar template, yeah.
if you were perfectly consistent from blog post to blog post to blog post over periods of years, maybe.
Just look at
If you run a blog for 15 years and you've evolved and changed things around, no.
Yeah, if anything's
True.
not in the right XPath or CS, it doesn't work. And I haven't, like, I mean, there's a lot of great generators out there. I think that it's going more and more to the CMS to generate or a plugin or something similar to that. What's the one you mentioned, Doc, that you like?
Tony McCreath has one on his website. It's websiteadvantage.com.au.
Website
on the tool page, and it works great.
He got a sitemap tool too, right?
Yeah, I believe he does. He got a half a dozen tools on there, but he really shakes them down and debugs them. And I'm pretty critical on that tool. I've looked for problems. Have yet to find a single problem. They'll pass right out of the gate.
Main thing is keeping them updated with Google's new policy that change every week.
Yeah.
Unstructured data, it seems like it.
No, when Tony puts a tool up on his site, you know he's been through it through ways from Sunday.
It's great to know. Yeah, I just found it. I'll bookmark it. Seems like he has a lot of great tools. It's a great way to get traffic.
And he's also, I think, the primo go-to guy. If you've got a sticky regex question, he knows that shit inside out.
That's valuable, yeah. Regex is, my fiance knows a lot more about regex than I do. And it can get tricky, yeah. But I love it. It's wonderful, wonderful to have. He has a lot of everything. Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, Tony is a smart guy. So hard to get along though with, you know?
Yeah, I'll probably put in I'm not providing, that's the only SEO service I'm not putting in the theme. Probably recommend using his sitemap.
Yeah. Can I ask, when you're adding all these plugins to the theme, is it dragging down the speed at all, or is it
I don't
not
add
affecting
plugins. I
or
programmatically
functionality?
add them to the theme.
Yeah, he hard coded them. Yeah.
So there's no site speed loss with the,
So there's no page with unused plugins.
Yeah, no. I only have 2 plugins installed, and they're so I can add custom variables. That's it.
advanced custom fields.
Yeah. That's even the name of the tool that I use, the plugin that I use.
Yeah, that's
I
a great
have one
plugin.
for doing custom fields, and one so that I can add the titles into the main page. So you have your title and keywords and description right alongside of the blog post, so you can change up a bunch of them.
So I'm watching the clock today, folks, because I've got to depart right at 1.
Oh yeah, you have appointments, eh?
I have to bring a friend to an appointment. And it's 1 now. So thank you for joining us.
That's
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.